from the heart right now, you're going to reap 2020 is going to be coming from the heart. If you lead with the heart and you make good decisions, 2021 is likely going to be the best year of your life. Literally, he believes it's going to be the best year of your life if you lead with heart right now. So those are a couple of notes I want to share with you on a mastermind I was just in with Gary. It was a really cool environment with 100 other coaches in there. So I don't want to share that on my notes. It was on my heart, and I wrote those down for these guys today.
Awesome. Thanks, David. Appreciate that. All right. I know we have a quick broker update real quick. Lisa, do you want to chime in?
Yeah, actually, it's very, very quick. We had an update from ADRE today about, or actually Arizona Realtors, about a new benefit to you regarding COVID-19. They have attorneys on staff now that you can call in and speak to about navigating the process and talking about the benefits that are available. It's a toll-free number. It's 833-431-4636, and they're available 9 to 12 and then 2:30 to
You broke up, Lisa. 9 to 12, then 2:30 to. Well, Lisa may have gone through a tunnel. She's probably on her way to Bisbee right now in that tunnel. Everyone knows it. Can you hear me?
Oh, I lose you guys. Sorry about that.
Yep, you're back.
There you go.
Okay. Anyway, I just shared a link with you guys about the COVID-19 benefit. Did you guys hear anything about it at all? I'm sorry, my internet is done.
Can you repeat the number, Lisa? I'm going to drop it in the chat.
Thank you.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, Lisa, for staying on top of that. We appreciate it.
No problem.
If anybody has any questions, I would email Lisa and she can get you more information. There's going to be information in the chat box as well. All right. Cindy Powell, I believe you're up next with some information for our agents regarding ACH.
Good morning, everybody. Yes, we are going to give you a little update on the ACH process. I sent the form out again yesterday for you to complete if you would like to have your commissions direct deposited. We are getting close to the end of that setup process. We're just waiting for permissions to be assigned, and then we are going to be good to go. I estimate after transmittal, the first week of May, we will probably start the direct deposit process. So all agents, if they are interested in participating, should complete the ACH form and return it to the Market Center Administrator where your license is held. And just want to give you a quick process overview. Nothing really is going to change as far as the compliance process, the review process, and the check availability process. So you'll still submit your transaction files and green sheets as usual. You'll send a commission authorization to title, not the DA that we've all been using. So you won't have to worry about getting your DA created and in your loop. It will get created and put in your loop so you can verify that the accuracy is correct, but that is not the form you're going to send to title. So we're working on getting that form ready and in compliance with the brokerage. And that'll be available to everyone. And it's just going to say, send all your money to the brokerage. And then when that money comes in, we will process it and send it back out. So we think the timeline will pretty much be the same timeline that we're having right now, which is your file will close, checks will be received in the office. We'll process those the same day and submit them for review. And then by the next day, the broker should have those reviewed within 24 hours. And then we'll be able to process the direct deposit. So if you have any questions, please email me, klrw861@kw.com or Heather at klrw495@kw.com. And we will be happy to assist you. Thank you.
Awesome. Good tip. It will be certainly a time savings because you're not going to have to make trips to the office to get your checks, in the middle of the night. So that'll be nice. Are you guys excited about that? I see a head nod from the work sizer. Boom.
I think everybody is. I'm getting a lot of positive feedback on that. So that's going to be really cool.
Excellent. All right. I believe it's going to be time. So if we could assign the screen to Mr. Wilson, I believe that's it. Oh, Bold Pivot. David, do you want to mention Bold Pivot?
Well, those all we're gonna do. I got Pat Mancuso, who's actually the head Bold coach, coming to our quarterly meeting on Friday. So be sure and be on there. Pat comes with contribution. Top Bold coach. I asked him personally. He's my coach as one of the Bold head coaches, and he's going to go over Bold Pivot on Friday's quarterly meeting. So be on there. Pat's amazing. He is literally the top Bold coach of all of the Bold coaches. And so I asked him to come to our quarterly meeting. He's going to be there. So quarterly meeting obviously is from 8 to 9. He's going to be coming on in the middle of that. And then 9 o'clock to noon is our CE on doing it. So being a part of both of it, you do need to register for both on there. So really come to there. And if you haven't gone to the KW Cares plan, kwsacares.com, which is just a link inside of one kwsa.com, you'll see in there that if you sign up for Bold Pivot in the month of April, your May office bill is going to get waived. That includes team members. So you're going to get a lot more from Pat Mancuso on Friday, the quarterly meeting. We'll get to Aaron. Let's get to stats as soon as we can.
Absolutely. We've got Mindset Monday. Don't forget that.
I'll be announcing who that is later today.
Perfect. And we also have happy hour on Thursday, 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. Okay, we got a lot. So many places. You guys need to be plugged into the website, 1kwsa.com, to stay on top of it. And then also Kayla Shinnick has been sending out a daily list just to make sure it's top of mind and easy for you guys to get to the link. So with that being said, I think we got everything we need to covered. Hopefully you received your packet earlier today, emailed to you a scanned packet. If not, Aaron Wilson, if you don't mind sharing your screen, and it's yours, my friend.
Somebody, as he's coming on, somebody take that file and put it into the files of the chat box, if you don't mind.
I will do that with the file. I'll put it in the chat box. It's also on 1KWSA as well. It got popped in this morning.
Perfect. All right. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Good. So I just want to I usually throw it out there, find out what everybody else is doing and what the activity levels are and whatnot. But I'm going to kind of just select a few people here, if you don't mind. I know I saw Kelly Garcia that was on just a few minutes ago. So Kelly, what are you seeing, if you can unmute yourself by chance? Because I know that you've been busy. She's still on? All right. Anybody? What have you guys been seeing? What have you guys been feeling?
Kelly's on, but she's muted.
Okay.
Aaron, I'll chime in. I watch the Market Center numbers every single day now. I have them emailed to me. So I'm trying to get obviously you know why I'm doing that, trying to get a glimpse of what you're seeing. I'm seeing trend lines not going down dramatically. I'm still seeing business going on every day consistently. Listings going in I'm only giving you my frame of reference. Listings going in for KWSA is trending down a little bit. Contracts are not, though. We're seeing some better days than others. It's a little soft. Our March was a record March for productivity on every category. Our April is on track to be in a record month. January, February, and March were record months by at least 25%. And April is trending to be positive. So I'm excited to hear what you're reading into the MLS statistics, because I'm seeing trend lines going down a little bit in listings and seem not bad at all is what I'm seeing. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm seeing as of right now. Is the activity levels have actually increased from what I've seen. I know once this initially started last month, we saw a bunch of people just kind of pause, and they kind of froze in a sense, and while others just kind of doubled down and kind of got into their business, kind of did things as normal. And that's one of the things that we typically discuss almost on a daily basis is what's different now than what was going on previously. Because to be quite candid, all of the stats are basically from the activity that had happened right before we went on to a lockdown. So let's just consider that. However, we'll probably have about a week to 2 weeks of data that's into the numbers right now, and you're going to see some of that stuff. And I'm going to kind of break it down into that. I'm going to have actually an individual kind of talk a little bit about what has been happening on a daily basis, because everybody has the same opportunity. So if you go into the MLS, we have the opportunity to go in and check out how many listings are coming on in the MLS per day, how many properties are going under contract with a pending or contingent, and how many are closing. if you take a screenshot one day, you have nothing to bump it against. But when you start doing it day after day, you're going to start to see some of the trend analysis that's going to be out before it gets to the stats that you're seeing currently right now. So I had a very good conversation yesterday, just to let you guys know, with an individual that actually does the stats for the new home builds in Maricopa County and Pima County as well. So that being said, that conversation was a very lengthy conversation, but it was very in depth on his insight on what he saw this last couple of weeks. And we'll kind of get into that as well. But one of the things that really stood out to me, and I'm going to be fighting for this, and I'm probably going to be reaching out to a couple of you guys that have that know other people at the entities that I'm going to need to know, is up in Phoenix, what they do is they have their Armorless program has all of their new home sale subdivisions and all of their spec homes, all of that data that it's not in ours, automatically into their MLS. So it's very unique. It's very informative for the agent, because right now we talk about that where the agent's got to go out to all these different home sites and stay on top of it. Whereas the data is there for the realtor. So that's something I'm going to be kind of digging into a little bit deeper. They are the ones that provide the data to the Armorless. So he says, yeah, we can do the exact same thing for TAR. We just need to know who to talk to. So that's been on my radar for the past basically 12 hours that I'm going to be digging into pretty deep, because otherwise that's what we do is we go through both of these sets of data, and both of them are different. So, but on that note, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can share my screen here and kind of go. So everybody able to see the stats? Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a look. Let's cover.
Yes, sir.
What's that?
Yes, sir. We got them.
All right, let's go. So first off, let's talk a little bit about listings currently that are happening right now. With the most recent data that we've seen, this is for last month. So here's the thing. By looking at this, it's really not the true snapshot of what's going on right now, today, and over, I even say the past 2 weeks. So that being said, we've seen the listing inventory or the new listings coming on the market slow down. We probably all felt that. We probably had people that canceled listings. We also had people that, hey, I'm going to hold off until after this kind of settles. But what I want you to really think about is the fact that we're at record lows right now for the amount of listings that are currently on the market. So our inventory not only is at record lows, we have less listings that are potentially coming on the market. Now, new home builders, yes, some of them, stopped. Some of them slowed down immensely. Others just, it has not slowed down at all. One of the categories that they've slowed down on or even come to a halt is spec homes. So think about that. Once a spec home sells, they're not building any more spec homes. That's their approach. Okay, so think about that a little bit. But the inventory is out there. It's just whether or not it's going to be in the new home realm or it's going to be in the resale. So a couple items that I did circle here that they kind of stand out to me. Obviously, the bigger numbers are going to stand out for different reasons. And others aren't going to stand out. And one of them that don't stand out is days on market. You'll see that there's a slide for each one of these categories. So I'll go into it a little bit deeper. But our median price, our median price for this past year, literally looking at 8%, average price 9%. We've seen a little bit of a higher spike in the average price point because of the price point of homes that are actually going under contract. The $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 homes that were not there before. So this is cumulative over the last year. So just keep that in mind. The big one though, that's really standing out, guys, and we've been feeling this for some time, is right down here in the bottom of the screen. We are down 24% on our inventory of homes. That's huge compared to last year. That's huge. Month supply of inventory is down even more at a 1.8. 1.8 meaning that if everything today sold, or if everything's sold that's on the market currently, it would only take 1.8 months to deplete our entire inventory. A normal market, remember, is 5 to 7 months. And you're going to see one of the slides that come up here that kind of show you how long we've been in this kind of a gluttony, whether it's good or bad. Bottom line is we're in a seller's market. And it looks like we're probably going to go deeper into a seller's market, which is going to be very interesting. And that was the conversation on what's going to happen to pricing. because our demand is out there. Not only is it out there, the demand is building up. It's a pent up demand for what's happening. In other words, buyers are literally, they're not moving into town, or there's very few of them that are. Military shut down all travel movement, okay? That being said, they're not moving out here unless they're on special orders or whatnot, but it's few and far between. The question that is being brought up is what happens when they release the floodgate and people start moving back into Tucson and there is no inventory? What's going to happen to prices? What's going to happen to appraisals? What's going to happen to all of that? And that's what you're going to kind of see go on here, okay? So I decided to put this into a PDF format instead of slideshow so we can kind of go over in a little bit different format. But one of the things that, again, the new listings that are currently on the market right now, and if we take a look at where we're currently at right now, 1,600 homes, new listings that came on the market. That's actually above the 12-month average, which is at 1,400. So we actually had more homes come on the market than normal. It's still well below what we need though, okay? And when you take a look at statistically, this is December, every single December, nobody wants to put their home on the market, am I right? We know that. We're not in December anymore, so we're right here in the spring. Every spring we see a spike in new listings that came on. Right now, that's what you are seeing in the month of March. We saw a spike of new listings that came on. This is normal. This always happens. So what we have to keep in mind is if we don't have the amount of listings that come on the market, do you understand the demand that's still out there, but we don't have the inventory now? So, and if you look at a supply demand aspect of this, prices typically go up. So that's why, if I were to guess, and if I were to kind of get a consensus from the majority of you on the call that are doing business, you're probably still seeing multiple offers. Okay, and I see a lot of heads nodding. And that's why, because there is no inventory. I think there was 103 homes down in Sierra Vista that are for sale. Well, you know what? You don't have too much to choose from. So either one, if the condition's correct, right, it's what? Price, condition, and location. We'll knock out the location because the location is what it is. It's going to be price or the condition of it. So if the condition's good, the price is going to be whatever the buyer's going to be willing to pay. And if they have to move in, then guess what? They don't have to do a lot of the repairs that they would have had to do a month or two ago. Okay, so that's what we're seeing on the new listings. Pending sales. So this is the activity. Again, remember, this is a month ago. So this is the data that's, I say, about 45 to 60 days old. And that was before all of this started. Well, the lockdown started. So keep that in mind when we go through this, okay? The trend over here, as you see from 2018, 19, and 20, we've actually gone down in the amount of homes that have went under contract. Think about that. We've actually gone down instead of what most people feel. Hey, a lot of homes are selling. Well, they're selling, but a lot less of them are selling. Okay, so that doesn't mean that they're closing, and we'll take a look at that. However, what I really want to point out is this category right here is for single family residents, as you see. Can you guys see the mouse on the screen too? Please tell me you can. Okay, good. So the single family resident, obviously, was down 3.2%, but take a look at the townhouse condo. I'll be very frank with this, I don't understand that. Because if I'm willing to bet, this price point here is a lot lower than what a single family resident is gonna be. So it's interesting that less went under contract in the condo category than single family resident. Okay, wouldn't be surprised if that changes over the next couple months from affordability aspect. And you'll see that. Closed sales. So this is basically the lag measure. That this is what's in the books. This is not going to change, okay? We have gone up every single month with the exception of 1 month, and that was back in June of last year. We have gone up year over year every single month. So our closings have gone up, but our pendings went down. How does that make sense? Can anybody give me a solution to that? If you have less pendings, but more closings that have actually closed. What does that mean? Does anybody have any idea?
Next month, the closings are going to be down.
Yep, that's an indicator of that. Also, it's probably telling you that, you know, the fallout rate is probably dropped. I mean, if it goes under contract, it's probably going to go to closing. The probability is a lot higher than what it used to be. I'm going to say about 3 years ago, 2 to 3 years ago, when I'll say this from KWSA's standpoint, we had a fallout rate of about 40%. Now, if you think about that, for every 10 homes that go under contract, you know, 4 of them are going to fall out. That's a lot of work for not getting to the table. Okay. So actually those numbers actually have dropped, which is good. So meaning that, you know, you're keeping things together a little bit. However, what do you think is going to happen this next month in regards to that ratio? Did more homes fall out this last month? Absolutely. That's what we felt. That's what we know is on the radar. So expect those differences to kind of go up. Okay. Listings fell through. Buyers, what happened to the credit scores? Had to go up on certain aspects. So therefore the buyer capability went down. So therefore they can't buy. So that did happen. Overall across the board, not all of them though. So that's the thing. Buyers that can buy are still buying. Okay. Very substantial increase in 2020 compared to last year and year before. So we had a really big jump in this arena. So here's the thing, we're selling homes. And this is, again, first quarter. So keep that in mind. This is only the first quarter. Okay. A little bit, and since everybody has this, it's great. So therefore you can kind of take a look at this at your leisure on, if you look at a seasonality piece of this, that's kind of what you're looking at, is a seasonality piece on when homes are actually selling, when they're actually their peak. Typically here in Tucson, our peak is when? June, July timeframe, or March, or May, June, July timeframe, in the summer months, which is coming up. So the question always comes in, well, if we don't have the inventory and that's happening, how can we sell homes? Okay. So that's why that's that big push that I'm going to be trying to get Tucson Association of Realtors or the MLS to figure out how they can get all the new builds into our system through a third-party source. I'm having those conversations as we speak, because ultimately, if I were to ask everybody on this call, where are the new home builders at? What builders? What are they building? What's their incentives? What's their, you know, what's their co-op? Everything, just the same stuff that you have in MLS would be actually from the new home builder as well. All of the legal documentation, etc. So therefore, you're the source of the information versus having to go out and try and find it and getting it from a sales agent. Make sense? So anyhow.
So Aaron, there is a couple messages in the chat. One is from Sean that says one reason for slower sales in townhomes is because the inventory is very dated and there are no new townhome subdivisions. And then from JT, another very important meeting. Thanks from, sorry, this was just from JT. So JT wanted to say thanks.
Oh, good.
And Aaron?
Yeah.
One other note that's in the chat, Rebecca Crane knows the contact at TAR for that thing you're talking about.
Okay, so you know what, Rebecca, hey, do me a favor, when we're out of here, I'm going to give you a call. So I'll be all over that. Or
hey,
we'll
Aaron,
both call.
Aaron,
Yes.
JT, and Sue Carton is our president, so I'm sure she could do a hell of a lot for us as well.
You got it. I think I know that lady.
Yeah, I think you do too.
So good.
Got to leave you guys. Great meeting. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
Hey, Aaron, one thing real
nope.
quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
We do have a resource for ourselves as agents through the TAR MLS package that we have. One of them is New Home Source Professional. And that there is one way to get in contact with all the builders that are out there currently building and seeing what they have available and what's coming up in terms of their spec inventory and such.
However, my only concern with that is not all builders are participating in that. So here's the thing, that knocks out a lot of different builders. It knocks out a lot of your buyer potential. When your buyer finds something that's not in the system, it basically makes the system irrelevant. Don't get me wrong, there's builders that are in there, but this is actually derived from a third-party source that keeps all those builders, making sure that their data is, current and, legal locked in there. So, but yes,
Gotcha.
you are
Cool.
correct. There's a link that's there, but my experience with that is it's not fully accurate and not updated. That's my issue with that.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. All right, days on market. So here's the deal, guys. No surprise. Okay, days on market's down, obviously. Question's going to be, is it going to increase? I'd be shocked if it jumped up dramatically because homes are selling and actually we're going down in inventory. When you take a look at the townhouse condo, we're below 26, or we're at 26.
Gary, Aaron, today Gary was talking about inventory. He says there's a possibility because of circumstances that people can't make it up through this, that inventory may spike. Although don't be fooled, it'll go back. It'll probably go back down. So I think your class has always been important. I think more importantly is these stats, paying attention to all the factors involved. So there's going to be people that have to sell because of financial circumstances.
You're absolutely right. And you know what? And that's going to say, I wouldn't weigh too heavy on what these stats are going to look like next month. I'd look more at 2 to 3 months after the fact, because ultimately this next month is going to probably be an anomaly there. So what I look for is what the trend is kind of pointing to right now. And of course, trend is showing downward pressure on days on market. If I go to the graph, obviously it's down. Point is it's at one of the lowest levels that we've ever had. As you can see right here, 37 days on market, 36 days on market, 37, 36. We're going to be jumping into the summer months. Whether or not that's going to have any push on that, we'll see. We'll see. But bottom line is homes are moving, and homes are moving quickly. That's a seller's market. Okay. Median sales price. You guys know my take on median versus average. So we'll take a look at both of them kind of collectively. Take a look at year over year. This is actually very interesting. My whole point here, guys, is this is not sustainable for long term. When you combine inflation rate into this, it is not. However, that's something to kind of point out, but we're at the highest median price that we have ever been, which is great if you are a seller, and not so great if you're a buyer. So just kind of make sure when you're looking at this, you're looking at it from both sides of the equation. Can anybody explain to me what this, yes, I did this coloring job all by myself, so I should probably get a little star for this, but what is this? Does anybody, can you guys kind of walk me through that?
The bottom.
That was the bottom of the last recession.
Okay, so let's take a look at it. So a picture's worth 1,000 words, obviously. So if we just go back to this little realm right in here, what was the median price of homes in Tucson right here? How about under 150?
Yeah, 130.
Okay, what is the median price now? I got it highlighted right here.
260.
So their home values have doubled during this time frame. What is the probability these individuals have equity into their home right now? Now, Kathy Fowler's on the call, I'm pretty sure. Am I correct? I see your head nod, yep. So do you not think that Kathy can probably get you a list of individuals that actually purchased during this time frame? Because that's a higher probability that they've got a ton of equity, probably twice the amount in their home currently, not to include the amount that they paid down their principal over the last, let's just say, 8 years. These are your move-up buyers right here. And I do believe that Kathy can probably generate that list and get it to you. And then what do you have to do as an agent? Call them, talk to them. Do you not think that maybe, just maybe, during this, call it a crisis, call it a pandemic, call it whatever you wish, do you not think that maybe some of these people might be strapped for cash? Do you not think that right now the interest rates are probably the lowest that they've ever been? Do you not think that they might be able to refi and take a little bit, not a lot, out of their house in order to get them through whatever they're going through? I'm just trying to create conversation for you and a potential potential seller or somebody that you're going to be talking to where you can help them out. Or maybe you sold them the home and they don't want to move. It's these conversations that you probably need to be having with these people in particular that have the opportunity to, you know, to take advantage of some of this or move up or whatever. But bottom line is this right here is the sweet spot if you want to call old expires. So that being said, that's any questions on that slide right there? That's probably one of the most powerful ones. Okay, average sales price, same thing. You can take a look at this here. This is actually more based off price point. Looking at from last year, 10.9% increase. There's not one negative in this category. So we've been increasing time and time again, okay? The only thing is this month right here, November of this last year, there was a 0.9. However, that's for, that's during that duration of 12 months, okay? For the previous, I'm sorry, for the previous November, okay? So it's a year over year change. You go to the townhouse condo, same thing over here in this category. So we've gone up for a good duration of time. Not saying we're going down because our affordability, you're probably going to see that our affordability is still a lot better than what it is in other locations throughout the US. Okay. Percent of list price received. Bottom line is boring, straight up boring. And the reason I say it's boring is because if you take a look at this, we've been at 97% for almost 8 years or higher. So very simple stat to kind of take a look at is if you're going to list a property or if you're going to have a buyer that's looking to buy a property, the expectation's probably right within that realm. Keep in mind that's if it's in alignment with days on market. You look at a property and you've been looking at a property, it's been on the market for 325 days, well then guess what? It's probably due to the price point or condition, okay? So boring slide, yet there's no big change here. This might be interesting to see what happens here in the upcoming future if people start to sell properties for less than the list price. However, what I've been experiencing and what I've been hearing from a lot of different agents is that, again, multiple offers, and multiple offers typically aren't lowball offers. Okay. Housing Affordability Index, as you can see, I'll just go straight to the chart. Bottom line is anything that's under 120, that's a blurry slide. Sorry about that, guys. Anything that's 120 or 120% or higher is actually very, very affordable. So we're in that realm still compared to the rest of the nation. So keep that in mind when it comes to affordability index. If you start to take a look at other locations throughout the US, you will probably see that our affordability is quite nice here. And it wouldn't surprise me we start to see even more out-of-state buyers in the future because of this pandemic, to be quite honest with you. That's just my take on that, because I'm done. I just, you know what, I'm able to sell my house out here in California, move out here and buy 4 of them at the same price, you know? So inventory of homes. So, yep, did the coloring myself again. So let's take a look at this though. This is very interesting to me. So 2020, we're down significantly in the inventory of homes that we currently have. So the next slide it's a very similar slide, but what I want you guys to keep in mind is the fact that a neutral market is anywhere between 5 and 7 months of inventory. Okay. And we're currently sitting at a 1.8, as you see. So this is literally at a 1.8 right over here. And this is the lowest that we've ever been at. So we've been in a seller's market for about 4 years now, statistically. And there's no signs of us increasing towards a buyer's market anytime soon. So when you look at the economics of what we're seeing is we're not seeing a bubble in the real estate realm right now. Matter of fact, it's actually going deeper into a seller's market than a buyer's market. Not saying it's getting healthier. I'm just telling you that right now we're probably going to dip even lower into a seller's market. The question is, what's that going to do to pricing? That's what we don't know. but the demand is still out there. It's still out there pretty high. Matter of fact, if and this is probably for everybody here, the activity levels through digital sources has increased dramatically. You've probably seen an increase in internet leads if you do any of that nature. You've probably seen a lot of people, they're looky-loos that are out there, and you can basically chalk that up to where they're probably bored and have nothing better to do because they're sitting at home in front of a computer. However, that's the opportunity to be talking to these people because they're going through to your website. They're dripping into your CRMs or whatnot, okay? But again, go back, the last time was back in 2016, and this was a neutral market between 14 and 16. Buyers, sellers, both kind of happy on that realm, and it was neutral. Now, month supply of inventory. So this is your absorption rate right here. There's your 1.8 that's right down over here. As you see, that's in correlation with this side over here on your months. So for those of you that were in the business, there's a few select of a few of us where it took actually 12 months on average, or there was 12 months of inventory, I'm sorry. 12 months of inventory to sell off all of the inventory. Buyers during this time would look at a ton of homes, a ton of them. It was not uncommon to show a buyer 30 homes back then. Now you fast forward to this area over here, they need to make a decision pretty quick, am I correct? Because if they don't, there's somebody right behind them getting ready to write a contract, even in this kind of a pandemic. Again, if you take a look at this, our trend up here has actually decreased all the way down over the last year. Every single month, we're actually going deeper into a seller's market from the resale standpoint, okay? Take a look at condo townhome, it's even worse. And I shouldn't say worse, it's even lower because worse is it's great for the seller. It's more complicated for the buyer, okay? Any questions on resale? On what's happening? All right, what do we got in the text box? If you don't mind, I saw some texts come in. Can somebody read those off?
Sean Edgar made a point. It said, with people officing and teaching from home, they're realizing their house is too small and they're dreaming of more space.
Mm-hmm. True, true, true. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get to some new home stats and then we'll kind of wrap up there real quick. And I would love to kind of open up for question and answer towards the end here. So therefore, you know, I get some interaction here. So can somebody do me a favor? I am going, where's Larry? Larry Hilliard's on, I know he is. Larry's got that radio voice. So if I'm gonna have him read whatever's highlighted and then we'll kind of discuss from there. Larry, I know you're on.
Okay. March 2020 was a very good month for Tucson new and resale homes in spite of COVID-19 challenges that become dominant in the last half of the month or became dominant in the last half of the month. Median prices of both new and resale homes are up, but the days ahead may present a different picture depending on how long our overall national and state economies are disrupted by the pandemic. There are no real answers either, and those on the national and regional scene who have recently emerged as prophets of the national and Arizona housing markets are unfortunately operating pretty much with the same level of knowledge that the rest of us are, which is not very comforting. Phoenix and Tucson entered into this situation with strong economies and every expectation of continued excellent housing market performance and growth. That is certainly statistically undeniable. And as the data on the left for March and the year-to-date shows, that momentum continued to be demonstrated in real data on both permits and closings, as well as resale activity.
Can somebody give me a synopsis on what takeaway from this particular page right here?
The experts don't know anything more than we do.
Bingo. And I think a lot of reason for that is because it's what's happening right now. And there's nowhere that it's being tracked, but it's not being put into print and being in front of their eyes until it's already over with. It's all lag measures is what's going on. That's typically what we're feeling right now. It's the unknown. What I do know though is we're coming off, and David even said it earlier, we came off the best March the company ever had. I say that from even our team, we had the best month ever that we ever had. Now, I'm not chalking that up to coincidence, but it has nothing to do with the market. It's what you're doing in the market. It's your approach to it. The one unique thing about this whole situation, and hopefully this comes out the right way, is there were a lot of jobs that were let go. Us as real estate agents, we were not let go. It's either whether we get to work, because every single one of us have the opportunity to work, it's whether or not we actually do it. And we may have to do it a little bit differently, but we all have a job. Nobody let us go. We're not in the unemployment line right now. We're not. So therefore, that's the opportunity that we have. Whether or not we take that opportunity and run with it, it's going to be a little bit, that's up to us. So I agree with Jay right there. Here's the deal. The experts don't even know what's going to be happening. You're probably going to see, and what I challenge you with, every single one of you, I challenge you to understand that, you know what, when you start seeing stuff in the media, that's national news, and it has nothing to do with local economies. So keep that in mind. We are set totally different than a lot of other locations right now. So therefore, we have a lot of healthy indicators coming into this, and we actually have healthy indicators during this right now. So that's what's very, very promising and very unique. Now, don't get me wrong, there's going to be people that go, you know what, I give up. I can't do this. I can't do an open house. I've been forced not to. Well, you still can. You just got to learn how to change the format of it. That's it. Okay? So there's people that still want to buy and sell. It's just you got to find them. Let's go here. Who else wants to read this portion right here? How about Bubba Clement? Who's that guy?
I do not have a voice like Larry does, so we'll just put that. We'll just start off with that. We are also aware that the recent strong housing economy has changed the operating methods of many home builders, especially the larger ones, where historically builders in our marketplace have tended to start a house on order. For reasons well known, many have switched to starting houses to smooth production flows and keep scarce crews on the job site. Unfortunately, this has tended to reduce the value of a short-term counting of permits as an accurate gauge of recent new contracts for homes. That leaves the most reliable way to track new home activity as the lagging data point of recorded escrow closings. And under the present CD19 circumstances, it remains to be seen how long builders will continue to start unsold homes. The permit numbers could remain positive through April, driven by optimistic builders. Still, it will certainly decline if the economic lockdown continues through the summer and into fall. In the graphic below, we applied 6 different assumptions for the market activity of today's state of Tucson. New housing market here at the end of the first calendar quarter of 2020 and their potential effects on the overall 2020 results. Using 2019 results for Tucson for April through December as the baseline. They range from no change to a decline in 30% in market activity from 2019 performance and provide a calculation of the resulting permit and closings for 2020.
Somebody give me, thank you, Bubba. I appreciate that. Somebody give me a synopsis on what they took away from this particular deal. There's like 2 to 3 things that kind of stand out. This is that interaction time period, guys. I got like 90 of you on here.
I'm going to go with builders are still optimistic and they're just going to keep building homes. And even if nobody buys them, they're going to sit there.
Okay. Yeah. And I think the thing is, we're talking spec homes kind of maybe, I don't want to say going away, but kind of coming off. And then that means they need to track it by what? Escrow closings instead of the way that they were tracking before. So we got to watch how that data is going to impact if we don't change the way that we look at data. So again, we talk change. There may be changes in the way that we track data now because of the way that they're going to be building their homes.
So we do have one comment or question. It says, have we seen anything in reaction to the CDC warning us about another COVID-19 wave in the fall?
Have not seen anything as of yet, and I'll be very blunt. We have no control over that. The only thing that we have control over is what we do. So no, I don't know. I haven't seen any indicators of that, but no.
Oh, there was new on the news just this morning. They're talking about the CDC has a new warning that because the coronavirus and the winter flu going into October, November, December, the double whammy there could cause another spike in the whole thing. But yeah, I mean, okay, that's certainly scientifically possible. So what do? Well, we prepare for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would. Oh, sorry. that was one thing that I already had a couple of questions from people saying, well, should I list it now? And my answer has been, you know what? We can shake the magic 8 ball all day long, and we all know how correct that is. So don't wait. Don't wait on the what if. Let's go.
I don't know if Sheila Cooper's on a call, but I'm going to steal this from her. One of the scripts that she's been using that I thought was brilliant is, if you sell now, you have just locked your place into the market. You've just locked it and you already know what you're able to receive. If we fast forward 6, 8, 10, 12 months from now, we don't know what to expect. That's the unknown, and that's what scares people. Uncertainty scares people. But what I know for a fact right now is I know if you're under contract right now, I know that you can sell at that price. That's what I know. What we also know is what? Interest rates. We know what they are. We know what they're doing. Has anybody been watching what the stock market has been doing as of lately, over the last couple of weeks? It has gone back up. So what happens to the confidence there? That's one of the lead indicators there. Now, does that directly impact what's going on with the housing market? Not necessarily, but people will try and relate the two. But here's the deal: the confidence has come back into that arena.
One thing that I've also noticed, or something that came to my mind after reading this and hearing it being read, back to the housing market letter there, home builders, when everything happened back in 2008, 2007, they just stopped. Everything just halted, done. And that kind of created this environment that we're in right now where we're seeing a lack of housing. And I think a lot of these builders are actually looking at this and saying, well, we know demand is high. We know that there's confidence with people as long as there's future confidence in how everything else shakes out with this COVID-19 thing, that I think it is they're thinking it's in their best interest to continue to build so that buyers are confident that things can keep going, because a lot of people use new construction and new building as an indicator of the strength of the market.
Correct. Yep. And you know what, there's a couple things that I wanted to kind of pinpoint on here. It's the way that we approach things right now, because the last thing that anybody wants to do is call somebody and ask them if they want to buy or sell in this kind of a situation. Am I right? Let's just be honest. That's probably tacky, and it's not the time or place for it. If Jason Carlton is on the call, hats off to that guy. Seriously. He made a post this morning, and if you have not seen it, I ask you to go to his Facebook and take a look at the post that he had made. That is probably the best approach for you to make, and it goes right in correlation with what David Jones was talking about, by pouring into people in this time frame right now, because in the long run, they're going to remember who you are. They're going to remember what you did. They're going to remember that you're the one that was there with them through all of this versus, hey, do you want to buy or sell your home right now? So
I've got it up right now, Aaron, if you want me to read it.
Yes, please read it, because I think it's very powerful.
Yeah, so Jason writes, as many of you are well aware, I dedicate several hours of my day to lead generation. I spend that time calling, texting, emailing, and sending handwritten notes to people I know in order to stay in touch, build meaningful relationships, and earn the right to be their realtor of choice. The reward is, of course, connecting with families that need to sell and buy homes. Additionally, I've been deeply touched by some of the conversations I've had this week. In the last few days, I've had the privilege of listening as people have poured their hearts out to me in the hardships they are enduring. I've had the chance to extend my sympathies and pray with my clients in very difficult times. I'm absolutely humbled that they would take my call and share what they share with me about what you are facing. Every once in a while, someone asks me, why should I choose me to be the realtor? Well, if you ask my clients, they will tell you that when they lost their job and no one from their work called to check on them, their realtor did. When they were losing their husband, their realtor called to check in. When they returned home from being admitted to the hospital due to PTSD, their realtor called to say hi. When their wife was hospitalized, their realtor called to pray with them. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing your life with me. It is my pleasure to serve you.
So I just say class act to him.
His the outpouring in his comments and the reaction he's getting from his social sphere is very palatable. It's amazing stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. And I think that's what, you know, and here's the thing, it's just that unknown, but letting people know that you're there for them, you know what? And a lot of this, even this statistical data, because once they ask you a question about, well, what's going on in real estate, now you can kind of, you know, it's interesting. Things haven't slowed down. So now what does that do? It just puts confidence right back into their plate, because right now there's a lot of confidence that's been shattered, okay? Back to some of this statistical data here. Again, they ran 6 different scenarios. If you take a look at the bottom of the screen here, 6 different ones. They're showing it a worst case scenario of a 30% loss. And this is activity. In the loss of activity in the new home sales realm. If you go back and take a look at this activity, even if it took a 30% loss, it's above what it was last year. Think about that. Even if we go down 30%, it's going to be less than what it was last year. So that is huge. So you gotta compare apples to apples here. All right, let's see here. I'm gonna go ahead and read this one. The permit and closing trends suggest that the Tucson market has flattened so far in 2020. With the present pandemic crisis, we should anticipate a further flattening over the rest of 2020 in both permits and closings. The recent activity saw an uptick that was substantial March, which would turn the trend upward if it were to continue. That is probably not likely under the present restrictions and conditions. To me, that's probably a good thing. It allows our resale market to play a little bit of catch up if we start to get listings that kind of come into the market, okay? Now, that being said, a flat line does not mean a bad thing. A flat line means basically time to catch your breath and play catch up, okay? Permit activity. One of the questions that I had with it was actually the individual that does all these slides. I asked them point blank, I said, hey, what is it? You know, when people from permits, when permits are issued, how much time frame typically, if you go across the board with all of new home sale construction, to where it gets to the closing table? And his answer was 5 to 6 months from the time a permit is drafted is when you'll basically, the homeowner will get keys. So a lot of this data when we're talking permits is 6 months into the future. That's your crystal ball. Because new home builders are not in this business to sit there with vacant homes that are not selling. So it's a 6-month forecast, basically, if you look at it in those terms on what's happening. Now, I did have to give a phone call, and this is when I did make the phone call to him, because I looked at this graph and I was like, what in the world is this? And how does this relate to anything? Because this is the second time I've ever seen this. And I'm like, I just don't understand it. However, it's just a different visual. If you were to take a look, this is the actual number of new home sales that were done within the month. And this is actually the price point. So how does that relate? So when you take a look at the ink blot map here, you're looking at most of your homes going to be anywhere about 300,000 to 325. So therefore, that's what you're looking at there. When you compare that over here to this chart, this is resale. So about what? Almost 2,000 homes that were sold this last month. The majority of homes were sold were all around the 200 to about the 200 range. That's all this is showing. However, if you go back and read some of this, and this was the good lengthy conversation that we had, is we will probably see a big difference in this chart next month, because it's going to show that gap in activity, if that makes sense. With the activity levels slow down, you're going to see a lot more white space. And that's currently what we're going to start tracking here very soon. So glad I made the phone call, etc. This slide right here, ever since October of this last year, median price has increased pretty dramatically. And same thing, that's the median, I'm sorry, that's a new home sale price, and that's the median on the bottom half. So a lot more substantial on the new home price versus the resale. However, it's all still in alignment with each other. The problem that we have is it's outbeating inflation right now. So we don't even know what that's going to do to cost of goods, because if cost of goods go up, that means prices have got to go up to build the home. So consider that as well. This slide right here is actually pretty interesting to me, because when I start to look at permits, again, permits is 6 months out. When you get in relation to what's going on there, that's this slide right here. So since December of this last year, so January, the last 3 months, we've seen a huge pour into the permit category. We've seen a ton of permits come on, which means there's a ton of new home builders that are actually out there that are going to be building even more homes. And when you look at that, that comes down here into these arenas. I typically only highlight the top three. These top three: D.R. Horton, Robeson Communities, and Richmond American. That's where your buyers are going to be at. More importantly, this is close of escrow. This is what closed out. This is where the activity was, past tense. People got their keys in this area. However, this is where they're going to be building heavily. Saddlebrook, back on the map, big time. What is Saddlebrook? What do they cater to?
55 and over golf resort lifestyle.
I'm glad you said that. That's a good way to explain that. Thank you. I call it seasoned, right? I'm close to that arena. I don't want to admit that. However, what are the top three?
The top two are both Robeson communities that are essentially the same thing. One, Quail Creek's in Green Valley, and I'm not familiar with Lazy K Bar Ranch at all.
Okay, it's good. That's actually out in Valor.
And that's going to be 55 plus as well, right?
Yep.
In the Rincon Valley.
Yep. So my whole point here is the top three areas of where they're building, where the buyers are going to be flocking to in the next 6 months, are right there. Age-restricted communities, and I'm giving you the name of the and location of those particular locations. So that's where they're building at. So it might be in your best interest to find out what's going on out there, so you have the answers before you get a phone call instead of after and trying to scramble. Okay? What is this one here? This one here is what? Close of escrow. This is where they closed out. Saddlebrook, Quail Creek, Del Webb at Dove Mountain. I don't know, does anybody know Del Webb, Dove Mountain? Is that age restricted or no?
I do not believe it's age restricted, but that's what you're going to find most of out there.
Yep. And then I know Saddlebrook and Quail Creek are. So again, for those of you who love a heat map, that's fantastic. Here it is. This is where the new home builders are at.
So, sorry, there's a note in here. It says Saddlebrook and Saddlebrook Ranch are 65 plus, 55 plus, 80%, 40 plus, 20%.
So say that one more time, please.
That's from Dorothy Moore. Saddlebrook and Saddlebrook Ranch are 65 to 55 plus is 80%, and then 40 plus is 20%.
Gotcha. And we're saying, is she on right now? Can she explain what that 80% and 20% mean?
Dorothy, let me see. Let me grab her. Dorothy, I just unmuted you. Can you explain that a little bit?
Saddlebrook and Saddlebrook Ranch and also Quail Creek fall into the state category of 55 plus, but the requirements are really 55 plus, 80%, And we are a 40 plus community because we're 40 to 55 is 20%. That's how Jim and Lauren live in Saddlebrook, is they're between 40 and 50.
So when you're referencing that, what you're meaning is 20% can be
40 to 55.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Good to go. Thank you for that. Actually, I did not know that. So that's good. So, and actually it's kind of interesting. I can count on one hand how many times we've had potential leads that wanted to go into Saddlebrook area or have inquiries. And I would say within the last month, we've had quite a few. So FYI. All right. Last one here. We do feel the Tucson and Phoenix markets will have an opportunity to rebound and continue as among the nationally best housing markets when the economy rebalances after the COVID-19, and i.e. that's Jim McDaniel. So numbers are strong coming into this. I don't, unless somebody else can kind of give me some insight on why we would feel that we would see this kind of take a downward spiral. I would love to open that conversation up, but I would actually like to kind of base it off some factual data there, but what is your guys' take? What kind of trends are you guys currently seeing?
Renee stated that Del Webb is age restricted as well, and she's working on a spreadsheet with all the age requirements for the retirement communities.
Yeah, I started a Google sheet for it, so I can share that if people do want it.
Excellent. One of the things that I would like to do, and I'm going to actually kind of share the screen one more time because I was talking to you guys about what's going on in the market currently with the data that we've been running daily. And this is straight out of the MLS, so I will actually do that. But let me see if I can get back to sharing screen. And Tracy Castell, is he still on? Because if he is, he's the one that originated this data or transcribed it over and put it into a spreadsheet. Tracy?
Yeah, I'm on.
He's on.
Gotcha.
Okay, so basically the whole theory behind the reason I did this was we always look at monthly trends and what's lagging, and because of the COVID and how fast this thing hit us, I sat down and I actually plot this every week. These are weekly, the dots on there are weekly for you. So it gives you a look into potentially the future, what next month is going to look like. So the top chart is simply new listings, price changes, what has extended and what's back on the market. And these are weekly numbers. So keep in mind, these are the trends. So you see that top line there, the new listings are dropping off, which is, it checks with what Aaron just was talking about. The interesting one was I was hearing from a lot of agents and a lot of that the feeling was, hey, price drops. They're happening everywhere and they're happening quickly. But that first chart or that orange line, that second one down, price drops. Yeah, now we finally saw it. We saw an initial drop, but then they pop back up. So we're seeing a slight decrease in the prices, but it's not what I thought when I personally started putting this data together. I expected the price changes to be astronomical, a lot. And if you look over time, it's pretty level. There's no major trend except for the last 3 weeks that's trending down, which means prices are holding. They're not changing them. Scroll on down there, next one. The second chart, excuse me. All choked up about the numbers. The second one is what has fallen off the market, what's disappearing from our inventory. And this really is a good graphic to explain to your customers the emotion and that happened in the market due to COVID. The blue line is weekly drop-offs and the total drop coming off the market. So that was literally right when everything got shut down. But you notice what the latest trend, the last 2 weeks, it's dropped. So that initial scare, people losing listings. I had one that left, people holding off and not putting them on. You can take this directly to your sellers and use this and say, hey, look, you really need to get back in the market because the inventory is extremely low. This is your time to position yourself in today's market and get set for those sellers that are out there. The next one, or the buyers that are out there. This next chart really shows what the buyer activity is doing. So these are active, contingent, pending, and closed. And you can see those lines that they're pretty consistent from starting from the year to now, which is that demand is still out there. Our activity is still relatively smooth. Again, this is weekly. So it matches those monthly things. And I was just trying to get an idea of what's going to happen next week. And so I can tell my buyers and my sellers that I'm talking to that I literally have 4 listings sitting on the sideline going, they're waiting because of the COVID. I'm talking to them weekly about these numbers. And I got one to pull the trigger last week. So this was my method of trying to get a hold of what's really going on in the market and try to get accurate data based on real numbers instead of just feelings.
Hey, Tracy, do me a favor, email that to either Jay, Heather, so they can get that and load it up into the appropriate locations, so therefore people can download this data and utilize it to secure listing.
I'll throw it in the on the chat right now.
Yeah.
Awesome.
One of the things that,
Can you also send me the spreadsheet as well that you're using?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And one of the things that Tracy and I have actually over the last, I'm going to say what, 3 weeks or so, daily going over a lot of this stuff. So, so I applaud you. Good stuff there. So it's basically what we're doing is we're trying to just, I think all of us, even the public sometimes, or homeowners, all we're doing is trying to get a pulse on the market. That's all we're trying to do. And it's our job to kind of convey that message out there to the public. Like, you know what? Hey, look, there is no cliff here. Don't worry about that. Matter of fact, things are looking pretty much normal. So, any questions?
There's a good one that just came up on the chat. Feedback from anybody. How are appraisals? Are we seeing the appraisals coming in on number, or are they coming in under? Where are you at?
I know that there was some issues. I won't say issues. There was some way, even appraisers were scared to go in homes, for crying out loud. We've been able to use different forms of technology, even for appraisals. They did an appraisal off of a Matterport. It's crazy stuff there. Some of them, I don't know if has anybody experienced that they just will not do appraisals? I know there's been a lag time. They've been pushed back a little bit.
I've actually seen the opposite. I've been seeing appraisals come out quicker. I don't know if because they're vacant or something like that, but the 3 listings I had going under contract, I had appraisals within 5 days. So I mean, it was.
Were those appraisals at list price or were they under?
We'll see. I mean, it just all happened this last week. The appraisers went out yesterday, today, and tomorrow for contracts I put in last week. We'll see where we're at. But I mean, the fact that it's happening that fast is what's impressive. And then I'd say like 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was seeing appraisals taking, like the one we're working on, Aaron, that deal, that one's taking forever still. But
I just barely got an appraiser to go out. I have a buyer under contract in Amato, and the lender just could not get an appraiser out there. It took almost a month to get an appraiser to go out there.
Interesting. Hey, can I share something real quick?
Yep.
So guys, this information that Aaron shared, which is awesome, is hugely powerful. So what I did, I took a little picture of one of the slides that Aaron was showing, put it on Instagram, and within 10 minutes, I got 3 people asking me, hey, can you guide me through the home buying process? Like just now. Like this is what people are looking for. They're looking for the information. They want to know that things are solid and things are still moving so that they can get the ball moving themselves.
You know what? Thank you, Jesse, because here's the thing, and I always talk about, well, I try to talk about this. It's almost, if you're a librarian, you probably read every book in the library, but if you don't apply this and take action with it, it's actually useless information. Take this information and basically get it out to the powers that want to hear it or see it or want to know what in the world's going on. Good. Anybody else have anything whatsoever?
Can I plug my new listing coming up at 1 May?
What you got?
I have a new listing, 3-bed, 2-bath, 85 square foot, east side, between Camino Seco and Harrison off of 29th. Listed at 285.
Gotcha.
Way to go, Amber.
So just from the chat, there are, we've got a couple. Sean said that she's had 4 appraisals that were slow but came in right at value, and then she is hearing of a lot of low appraisals. And then it looks like we had another agent, Sterling, who had one that came in 40,000 higher than list. So it seems like the appraisals are kind of all over the place.
Interesting.
Same thing with Roseanne. She had 1 at and 1 low.
So the good thing is we have not seen a drop off. You know what I'm saying? Drop off meaning that everything's low. So
Right.
yeah. Well, good.
No other questions for Aaron? All right, guys, I'm going to remind you that quarterly meeting is this Friday. So our meeting is from 8 to 9, and then from 9 to 12 is the CE. And I'm trying to remember contract law, I believe.
Yes, contract law.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. If you need anything, your staff and leadership are all here for you. Don't hesitate to reach out. We're here for you. Anything you need. Thanks so much. You have a wonderful day.
Does anybody know about the coming